After being plunged into the world of Drang Lake and suffering over and over again, with little to no satisfactory rewards, we completed Dark Souls 2. From start to finish, including all 3 DLCs. The amount of pain I've gone through while playing this game feels like watching a loved one fall and break their neck. Not literally, but you know. Dark Souls is my favorite game of all time, and experiencing its sequel was less than adequate to the standards the genre is held to. In fact, it's embarrassing. And I know I'm a decade late on this take, but I played it, and I have every right as anyone else to have an opinion. I will admit, I've never crashed out so hard on a game like I have Dark Souls 2. Let me show you what I'm talking about.
Yeah! This is so stupid! What is this game, dude? Oh my god, bro. Why is it just gank after gank after gank? Give me a fucking break, dude. This is insane. This is actually crazy. What? 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 This game is genuine garbage, bro. It's genuine garbage. This is fucking stupid. It's stupid. Let's go. No. What? I got so greedy that I fucked. How does that happen 2 times in a row? How is that possible? Am I just something different? Am I crazy? Or is that not possible?
Let's just say people weren't too fond of my opinions, and I will also admit a lot of it was due to my lack of skill in the game, but everything I'm about to tell you is personal opinion, but also can be backed up through experience inside of Dark Souls 2. Since we already know that I dislike the game, I will go ahead and share some things I enjoyed and rather liked about Dark Souls 2. Number 1. Majula. Majula is easily the best hub Dark Souls has ever had, which is why it deserves all the credit. It's peaceful, beautiful, and just a great stress reliever after dying 2,000 times to the same jam-packed level on a boss run back. It's not only beautiful scenery-wise, but the NPCs are great. Lenigrast the blacksmith is my goat, helped me with experimenting new weapons and upgrade paths, and also gave me a beautiful story with his daughter. Malin the merchant was also a chill guy. Unfortunately, I murdered him in cold blood in order to get his armor set, which increases the souls you get from killing enemies. But it was worth it, and I got up to the strength cap in no time. Let's not forget the talking cat. Everybody loves her. She also sells some pretty nice things. And eventually, you also get the hag merchant, which is the best merchant in the game, as well as Lenigrast daughter, who will sell you any upgrade stones you might need. Majula is truly heaven in a hellish world. Number 2, Fume Knight. Fume Knight is one of the hardest bosses in Dark Souls 2 and is my favorite boss from the game. He isn't incredibly hard compared to the other bosses in later Souls games, but for Dark Souls 2, he was on a whole other level. It took me almost 20 attempts to finally bring him down, and by the time I brought him down, I had mastered his every move, which is the most rewarding feeling in the Souls games. Learning through hardship. I absolutely prefer bosses that are programmed in this way, and with the amount of shitty bosses in Dark Souls 2, Fume Knight is truly gold. And finally beating him made me feel like Dark Souls 2 was worth it after all. Number 3, build variety. The amount of builds out there that you can try for Dark Souls 2 is quite insane. The amount of weapons, spells, armor sets are just infinitely better than the first game. I found myself lost on YouTube for hours trying to figure out which build I will enjoy most. I did pure strength for the entire base game, but during the DLCs I got bored, so I tried out pure dexterity and eventually went to a hex dex build. Let's just say, hexes are fucking broken in Dark Souls 2. Dark Weapon on its own puts out insane damage and was super enjoyable. Those were my top 3 things I enjoyed in Dark Souls 2, and to be honest, I can't think of anything else I enjoyed. Now that that's out of the way, let's talk about the negative. Number 1, clunky gameplay. The gameplay in Dark Souls 2 feels so much clunkier than the other Souls games. I think I saw somewhere that the first and third Dark Souls use the 360 movement axis, and Dark Souls 2 is more directional with angles. And let's be real, the movement and targeting in Dark Souls 2 sucks. There will be times where I'm locked onto an opponent and swing a big greatsword, and because my finger happened to be pressing against the A key, my sword moves in that left direction, which is the dumbest mechanic I have ever seen. If you are locked on, the keys should not affect your swing direction. It should always be towards the enemy you are locked onto. That is the main reason I stopped my strength build, because it's a lot more rare with smaller weapons. Everything about Dark Souls 2 movement is just off, and even those who enjoy it know this. Number 2, enemy stacking. Almost every level in Dark Souls 2 suffers from stacking the same enemy way too many times. For a basic Souls game, it should be mechanically difficult and based on skill, rather than how fast you can run. Dark Souls 1 made this standard. The fact Miyazaki wasn't even a part of the development should be enough to tell you that this is not the authentic Souls experience. Whoever was leading the creation of this game clearly did not understand how a Souls game works. An overabundance of enemies leads to player frustration and doesn't teach the player anything. It just makes them annoyed and want to quit. Dark Souls 1 was annoying at times, I will admit, but it was fair. Everything was a learning curve, and once you learned, you triumphed. In Dark Souls 2, it's based on luck and survivability, so they give you infinite life gems to compensate for how shitty these areas actually are. Hey gamers, look at all these enemies, Dark Souls 2 is so hard. That is the exact mindset the development team must have been thinking at the time. This is one of the biggest reasons Dark Souls 2 is hated. Number 3, boss runbacks. I remember a few runbacks that were absolute hell. Smelter Demon, Sorolon, the King's Pets, and the Blue Smelter Demon. Iron Keep is a perfect example of stacking enemies unnecessarily to add to the frustration of the player. As for Sorolon, you can't even run past them unless you have 99 endurance. So basically, you have to kill them one by one and despawn them all to get to the boss, which took me an entire day. Dark Souls 2 added a despawn mechanic to stop soul farming, so after you kill a basic enemy 10 to 15 times, they despawn completely. I'm glad they added this. If they didn't, I would have never gotten past Iron King. This is just to show you how ridiculous this game is. As for the King's Pets, you are literally plunged into a blizzard where you have to walk without vision across an entire level, and every time the storm picks up, a lightning reindeer spawns to fuck you. Let's just say these reindeers suck. They have a lot of health and are annoying to fight, especially when you can barely see. All for a duo reskin of Ava. Whoever was assigned to level design, know that you are not appreciated. Number 4, garbage bosses. There are 40 bosses in Dark Souls 2. Maybe 5 to 10 of them are decent. The fact less than 1/3 of the bosses are actually mechanically good is insane. Some notable shitty bosses are Covetous Demon, Rat Vanguard, Prowling Magus, Skeleton Lords, Dragon Rider, and the Belfry Gargoyles. Absolute dookie bosses. Do I really need to explain why they were bad? I don't know, go watch my videos and you will see for yourself. Number 5, the adaptability stat. The ADP stat is the worst new mechanic in Dark Souls 2. Your invincibility frames are divided into a stat that you can level up, which completely makes no sense considering medium rolling and fat rolling are still a thing, which is a natural version of adaptability. They have used equip load to determine your iframes for both Dark Souls 1 and 3, and it worked great. They had no reason to add this goofy stat that you need to invest in, or else you just can't dodge. Number 6, health penalty. You die so much in Dark Souls 2, and considering they added a system where every time you die you get closer to hollowing, which shrinks your health little by little, it really is anti-proactive. Most of your deaths are unfair, and instead of rewarding you for taking the time to learn, they punish you by decreasing your health pool, making you even easier to kill. What a brain-dead thought process. And number 7, lack of satisfaction. Every single boss you progress through in the main game just feels like a chore. Instead of feeling like you worked for where you are at, and feeling motivated through victory, you feel drained and unsatisfied. At least I did. I was just thinking to myself, let's get this over with the entire game, and I wanted to enjoy Dark Souls 2. I really did. I wanted it to be better than it really is. But the only thing the game left me with is relief that it's over. That's all I feel like talking about in this video. Those were my main issues with Dark Souls 2. By all means, if you enjoy the game, all praise to you. You have done something I cannot. I think it's overall a good video game. I just think it's a bad Souls game. Anyways, that's all I've got. Make sure to subscribe and like if you enjoyed this video. More content is coming very soon.